So our next speaker, they're just transitioning right now. Miss Ross is the wife of Dr. Ross, so she'll be coming in, and she's the founder of the Glenbard Parent Series. So just give us a minute.
Okay, take your time. Can you see me okay?
Oh yeah, we can see you. You're good to go.
Take your time. Let me know when we're ready to go.
We're ready right now, so whenever you are.
Great, great, great. Okay, well, lots of Rosses today, that's for sure. Thank you, Justine, also for organizing this, and of course, all of the people who are taking their time to discuss this very important, complex, challenging issue. Paul has set a stage for a conversation about racism, which is systemic, which will not be solved overnight, but the one point, the one mission of this time we have together is that we each can make a difference. We all have something to give. And so we need to find it where it is. And as he said, concentric circles of kindness, one never knows where they go out into the world. You've talked a lot about medicine, and certainly if you look at health outcomes, what are the things that it contribute? You have economics, you have environmental issues, you have food issues, support of the community, and certainly education. So education does have an important role to play because good health is associated with academic success, and more education success is related to better health. So there is a good connection here. I also have, everybody has a story. So my story, I know Justine from my work with the health department. I started a club when I was at Glenbard West called the Students for Students Club, and it was a mission to make the Glenbard schools a better place for everyone. That sort of took me to the county level where we started a group called Reality Illinois, which is the teen board to the health department. And any of you that are high school students in DuPage County are welcome to join. We meet weekly in the summer. We meet monthly during the school year. Again, everybody's always welcome. We have speakers, and some of the things we've worked on initiatives. Tobacco was a big initiative for a long time. We worked on smoke-free parks. Then we worked on policy change around Tobacco 21, and ultimately a number of students were invited to meet with Governor Pritzker when the Tobacco 21 ordinance was signed. So it's now, I would say our mission is a little broader, mental health, and I'm hoping that health equity disparity is another topic that we can speak about. I mentioned that everybody has a story to tell. My story is related to, I want to talk to you about the Glenbard Parent Series, how that came to be, but I think I'll take a minute and talk about this woman. This book is called A Promise Kept to Bear Witness, and it is my mother's book. My mother, who lives with us, who is 98 years old, is a Holocaust survivor. She spent 2 years at Auschwitz concentration camp. She had 9 sisters and brothers. And after the war, she was the only member of her family to survive. And why did these things happen to her? Someone didn't like her religion. And I have always come to understand that we are, regardless of who we pray to, who we love, what we look like, the color of our skin, we are all human beings, and all human beings should be treated equally, respectfully. And that's been the mission of my life and her life. Recently, there was a Black Lives Matter rally in Glen Ellen and Wheaton, and people were lined up along the main highway of Roosevelt Road. And I asked my mother if she wanted to go to the Black Lives Matter rally. When she saw the picture of George Floyd, she was horrified, as all of us were, to see violence against another human being. And it was tremendously upsetting to her, as I said, as it was to so many of us. She knows that those kinds of things happened in the concentration camps where Nazis would put their foot on someone's neck. And so she, there was one of her brothers, and she doesn't know how he died. She wondered, did someone step on my brother's neck? Is that what happened to him? So we went to the Black Lives Matter rally because she was very, very adamant about using her voice at 98 years old. We got to a stop sign and she called someone, a stranger, to come over, and she rolled up her arm and she showed the number on her arm, which she received at Auschwitz, 57779, with a triangle under it, which signified her religion, is Jewish. The man said, he knew what that was. And he said, "Where did you get that?" And she said, "Auschwitz, Auschwitz." He said, "Can I take your picture?" She said, "Yes." The light changed. We drove away. He didn't ask her name. She didn't give her name. The picture of my mother, Joyce Wagner, at the Black Lives Matter rally, and if you look it up, you can see Joyce Wagner, Holocaust survivor, probably Wheaton, Illinois. That picture was shared 33 million times. People commented how wonderful that she would, after everything that she's been through, that she would come and show her support. Her work's not done, and she's 98 years old. So you have a whole life ahead of us to make a difference. I want to share my personal story. I've explained to you that I just knew this was my mission, to see how I could make the world a better place. And so respect for others has always been a guiding principle. When my middle daughter was 13, and some of you remember 13, it's not often our prettiest stage. And I remember we went to Old Navy, and I was buying her the clothes. I had the credit card in my hand, and the young woman who was taking care of us said to my daughter, "Oh, you look so much like your mother." And I thought, oh, my daughter's just gonna love this. Wrong. She was horrified. I thought she was gonna kill the girl for suggesting this. So I realized that parenting is a hard job. Even though I'm a school counselor, I feel unprepared. And I heard about a book. It's called Get Out of My Life, But First Will You Drive Me and Cheryl to the Mall? So I thought to myself, there must be other parents out there who feel like they have ungrateful children in their lives. Wouldn't it be great if I took it upon myself to find this author, get this author, bring them to our community? Went to the school. I said, I looked up this author, and I'd like to bring him to a PTA meeting. And they said, "We don't have any money." Well, that wasn't going to stop us. So I went to real estate agents. I went to banks. I asked for donations. We put their name on a flyer. We put the word out. Hundreds of people came to the program. And I knew that we were on to something. I did that program for a very long time without anybody saying that, without asking for any remuneration for that. It was something I felt strongly about. And now this is our 25th year of the Parent Series. At some point, about 10 years ago, someone said, "Wow, this is quite an exceptional program. This is something that we should support Gilda doing all the time." So here was a passion, a need, and then it became, and I think your generation is really good at this. You are not always about getting paid for everything, extra thing that you do, like so many in my generation are. But my story, my reason for this story is, if you see something and you want to do something, do it, give it away, and perhaps it can become a lifelong work and a passion, and bring those two things together. So it was very successful. We bring in the best-selling authors. The program is always free to everybody. Everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter where you live. I noticed that there was a need in our Hispanic families to have a program like this too. So we started a program for Hispanic families. This is the Glenbard Parent Series, 25th year. This is what it looks like now at 25. About 50 different speakers coming to talk to parents around issues around substance abuse, around mental health, physical health, resilience, what does real success look like? And then on the back, we have here, these are all the programs in Spanish. And then I noticed that there wasn't a lot of diversity in our audience. And so I thought, well, we have programs in Spanish. We need to address some of the reasons why our Hispanic families are not coming to these programs, and understanding that often their work schedule is the worst, probably working more hours, maybe bad experiences that they had. And I know that there were things that our school was working on. The schools were working on a more diverse staff. It's critically important to have someone teaching you, being with you, who looks like you, encouraging higher level classes, AP classes for everyone, an opportunity for everyone. We know that's a pipeline into college. Looking at the discipline, the inequity in the way discipline is meted out, and the relationships. We knew that in so many of our families of color, family is everything. So we thought, well, why don't we target invitations that go to the whole family? Let's share meals together. Let's have conversations. And that's when we birthed the FUSE organization. FUSE stands for Families United for Equity and Excellence of African American Students. And so we would have programs that were targeting some of the needs that they had. We were listening to them. And that also has become a very successful program. And as such, our families now, our Glenbard Parent Series programs have now have become more diverse as a result. One thing that I've always felt so strongly that it's these positive conversations that we can have. So every time there's a FUSE meeting, I will get on the phone, I will invite a family to come. Sometimes I'll hear, and again, maybe based on bad experiences, their own bad experiences or previous experiences that have not gone well with schools. The phone call's not always, you're having a separate program and why you have a separate program. And what I've always said is, do you think we're doing a good job? I think not. And I think we can do better. And I think when you come from a place of we are trying, we're going to try this, that would very often turn things around. So again, that's been a successful program. And then in the speakers that we invite, I've always tried to bring in people that would expand all of our minds. I think about one person in particular, Carol Dweck, came to us in 2007. Carol Dweck has done some amazingly important research. She was a bright girl growing up in New York. And when she was in 5th grade, the teacher in her class assigned seats according to the student's IQ score. She was in the first seat, smartest girl in the class. She knew there was something wrong with that. And she set about researching motivation and mindset around success in the classroom. And she came up with some research that really is particularly important to students of color. She said that you need, what she did was she studied 5th grade classes. She would divide the class into 2. And to one group of students, she would say, oh, you're so smart. Look at this amazing innate intelligence that you have. Oh my gosh, you are just brilliant. And then to this half of the room, she would say, I can see that you're working so hard. Your effort is really outstanding. And so then she would come back to these 2 groups. She would ask them if they wanted to take a more difficult test. And the kids who had been told that they were brilliant, had this innate ability, their comment usually was, oh, I'm good, I got this. And students on the other end of the spectrum, or in the other group, those students would, when you asked them if they wanted to take a more difficult test, the answer was often yes. Then she asked them, do you want to see the tests of the kids who did better than you? The group that had been told that they were innately brilliant, not so much, we got this. But yes, said the other group of students. So the idea was you want to instill a growth mindset. And too often, because of, I think, inherent racism in schools, just like some doctors are great doctors and great humanists and human beings, and others are not. We all know, we've had our own experiences with teachers like that who build us up, or just the opposite. So with this concept of growth mindset and fixed mindset, the idea is, and again, particularly useful to students of color, This is not a number. This is a muscle that can be exercised. And the concept of yet, I'm not there yet. So we were able to share with Dr. Dweck, shared with the parents the importance of encouraging effort and acknowledging effort as opposed to a grade in time. So I'm just really proud of the kinds of people that we have brought in. A couple of years back, one of the teachers said, Gilda, you bring in great people for the parents. Why don't we bring in some great speakers for the students? Thought that was a great idea. So we started, every year we would kick off our series with a book, a community read. The first year was Ishmael Bea, Boy Soldier of Sierra Leone. I think the second year we had Rebecca Skluth. She, as Paul mentioned to you, she's the author of the book, The Mortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. She came and spoke. Tim O'Brien, The Things They Carried. Enrique's Journey was another book. We had Carlotta Walls Lanier. She was one of the Little Rock Nine, one of those original 8 students who integrated the schools in the 50s, talked about what that was like when the president had to call in the Army as they integrated this all-white school in Arkansas. This year, there was a book that kept coming up as a book that was really fascinating to all students, but particularly a book fascinating to students of color. And the author's name was Jason Reynolds. And you may not be familiar with Jason Reynolds, but in the school, these books would fly off the shelf. So I thought, okay, I'm not the superintendent, but I am one person. And one person can do something. And this year, the community read is going to be Jason Reynolds. I chose a book, one of his 14 books I think he has. The book was called Long Way Down. It's a book in free verse. So I thought, well, that would be something new to our community. And the book is about a young man, novel about a young man whose brother has been killed, and he's riding in an elevator, 60 seconds in this elevator ride. And as he rides down this elevator, other family members and friends come into the elevator, other people who have been killed by violence, and talk to this young man, Will, as he contemplates the revenge of his brother's killer. It was very hard work. Sometimes engaging a speaker is very easy. Jason Reynolds, this was tough, but I wouldn't let it go. I knew this was the one for our community when we selected the book in September. We had just hosted Killers of the Flower Moon, about the Osage Indians, Native American Indians. That's being made into a movie soon. I knew that Jason Reynolds was the author for this year's community read. 3 months later, I was able to get to the right person at his publishing company, and it was wonderful news. 3 months later, Jason Reynolds became the Library of Congress Youth Ambassador to Young People's Literature. And 3 months after that, he wrote the book Stamped, co-authored with Ibram X. Kendi, which is the #1, Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, is the #1 book in the country. This is a book that Kendi went to Jason Reynolds and said, I need you to write the book on the history of race for young people. And he said, no, this is too much responsibility. I can't do this. And Jason Reynolds, 3 times, Ibram X. Kendi came back. And finally he said, I'm ready to write this book. It also is a #1 best-selling book for young adults. And that's what it is. It's a story, the history of race. Young Black students who have read this book say, finally, I'm reading a book about me for everyone. And certainly this is a goal of all schools, to make the curriculum relevant for everyone. And so with this choice, the superintendent, as events have unfolded this summer, superintendent said, this is a book that every teacher is going to read, that's going to be a part of social studies classes, English classes. He made copies available for every staff member, about 700. I belong to an organization called One Community. Our mission is to make this neighborhood, this town, this county more welcoming to everyone. They latched on to this synergy that always works. They have reached out to the village leaders in all the towns of DuPage County, particularly around the Glenbard schools. That's Lombard, Glendale Heights, Glen Ellen, Carroll Stream, reaching out to the library boards, asking people to read this book. And then on September 29th, when Jason Reynolds comes to the Glenbard series, to be a part of the conversation. So, as I said, I'm not a superintendent, but I am one person, and one person can do something. Everybody can do something, and you can too. And I have so much faith in your generation. You will not stand for what we have done. We have done to the environment, what we have done in creating these systems that keep people in place. And it seems so simple. When one person wins, we all win. Why would we not want that for everyone? Why would we not want success for everyone? But I think you'll do it. I have faith in you. You'll change healthcare, and you'll make a difference. Thank you so much. May I answer any questions?
Ms. Ross, we have one question for you right now, and that is, did you run into any obstacles while creating the Glenbard Parent Series?
None.
None?
No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. Sometimes you do stick your neck out, and there, you know, but this is what I say. Like, for example, I remember we had a film, Misrepresentation is a film about the underrepresentation of women in all aspects of our society. And the people who, Governor Newsom, his wife is the one who made this movie, Misrepresentation. And then they've made a film about boys and about how our society really doesn't let young men have the full range of emotions. Be strong, don't cry. I brought Gavin Newsom's wife to the Glenbard Parent Series so we could showcase the film, and there was pushback. You're emasculating our young men. Yes, there's pushback. There can be pushback, but I always feel if I'm on the side of right, that's the side I want to be on. You know, I've always said, if you just stay in your own silo, stay in your own home, and you don't get out there and stick your neck out, yeah, people may be there to cut it off. But if you don't get involved, then yeah, okay, so maybe that's safe, but that's not the way I want to live my life. I want to look back on my life and know that I made a difference. I enhanced someone else's life as well. Any other questions? I know we're getting close to time. Paul talked to you about making himself available. You know, we're talking about, you know, how to undo this racism, call it out, dismantle it, say something, take action around it, be brave, be fearless. That's what we're on the planet to do. Thank you for the opportunity. Nice chatting with all of you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Ross. We really appreciate hearing from you. And in the chat, I put the website for the Glenbard Parent Series' email, and I suggest that everyone check it out. There's great resources.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. And share it with your building, especially now as we go to virtual events. Certainly, people don't even have to get out and drive down the street to come. So go to the website, glenbardgps.org, share it out. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Ross.
Take care.